Hello, my Bill 4000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Watcher Wednesday. This one is titled The Unexplained Terror of the New York Poltergeist Mystery Files. I'm excited to get in today's video. Hopefully, you guys are excited as I am. If you are, please go ahead, turn them last down low, put on something comfy, couple something special. Let's get intrigued. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Welcome to Mystery Files, where we take a deep dive into cases that span from the creepy to the truly bizarre and everything in between. I'm Ryan, and today I'll be forcing my colleague Shane to hear all about Popper the Poltergeist. And in the end, you'll have to decide if the mystery is solved or if it's simply a mystery.
You know what's, it's never quite sat right with me, and I didn't know why until now. If it spans from the creepy to the truly bizarre, that does cover everything in between.
But that's what we're saying though, isn't it, right?
Yeah, but it's redundant.
You're right.
Anyway.
Cut.
Popper the Poltergeist. That's why you're wearing your little ghost costume today, right?
That's right, I can't legally talk about ghosts unless I'm in uniform.
Okay. Well,
Nor can you, so where's yours?
I don't have it.
Look in your pockets.
I don't have one.
All of our outfits are just to add water. They're very small, and then once we add the water, they become very
Well,
big.
I didn't know what we were talking about today.
That's true, that's
if
fair.
If I did, I would have worn my Ghost
That's
Files
fair.
jacket.
That's fair. The day was February 3rd,
Could you imagine how much water Shane would have
on
to
a
add to
cold
his
and
clothes to make him big
unremarkable
enough?
afternoon in the quiet suburb of Seaford, Long Island. Nestled amongst the neighborhood's quaint public parks and tree-lined streets sat a comfortable three-bedroom ranch-style home, still bright and freshly adorned with white and green paint from its construction 5 years prior. It was here the Herman family resided. They were a picture-perfect, ordinary family in every sense of the word, except for the terrifyingly extraordinary ordeal they were about to encounter for the next month of their lives.
Hold up. Motherfucker looked like a damn vampire, bruh. Took it back 10 seconds. Remember that. Let me disappear me. Where me? Hear me. Dude look like a fucking vampire. Now let me push play. There's a part where...
Every sense of the word, except for the terrifying...
Right there. Motherfucker, tell me this bro. Don't look like Count Dracula. Wolf boy. I don't know. She normal. Vampire, wolf boy. Going on record saying, you can't see me looking at you, but just know I am.
Extraordinary ordeal they were about to encounter for the next month of their lives. Mrs. What?
Weird looking people.
That's not nice.
I mean,
these aren't stock. These are the real people.
I say that as a weird looking guy. He looks like a vampire. Certainly.
You.
He does kind of look like Bela Lugosi.
I guess I don't really have anything to say about the lady in the middle, and then you got a little Culkin boy on the right.
This does look a little bit like Rory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or Kieran. Mrs. Lucille Herman, a registered nurse, was home by 3:30 to welcome her two children, 13-year-old little Lucille and 12-year-old James, home from their day at school and to begin preparing her family's dinner. No sooner had the kids walked through the kitchen door when madness erupted. Throughout the house, a series of 6 tiny synchronized explosions sounded off.
Jesus.
Bottle tops and caps flew into the air as liquid spewed across the room. In the basement, a bottle of bleach was upended. In the kitchen, liquid starch spilled forth. In the bathroom, bottles of shampoo and medicine burst open. In the primary bedroom, a bottle of holy water met its unholy end. 30 miles away in the heart of New York City.
Was that a thing back in the day? Did people just keep holy water on their nightstand? I was trying to make my girl see Jesus and her eyes rolled back in her head. I thought she was possessed. Started dousing her with the holy water. She kept talking in tongues. Why would we keep holy water next to the bed? They have to be related to Ryan somehow.
42-year-old Mr. James Herman sat at his desk in the Air France office, where he was having a perfectly normal day at his job as an airline representative. That's when he got the call from his wife. "All the bottles in the house are blowing their tops!" She exclaimed through the phone.
Oh.
Yeah,
Popper.
Popper. All the bottles popping like it's New Year's Eve. What do you think about this so far? Have we ever gone to a house where all the bottles in it at the same time exploded?
No, I think this is made up. I think these people are liars.
Okay, well, you can't insult the family 2 times within the first 10 minutes.
I didn't insult them. I said they were weird. Well, I insulted them.
You said they were weird looking, and then you insulted their integrity.
Bunch of weird looking liars, if you ask me. It's hard to believe. Based on our experiences and knowing that, ghosts struggle to tickle your little belt.
They didn't tickle it. They jiggled that baby.
Yeah.
They jiggled that belt big time. They jiggled it.
No, it seems like it takes a lot of energy for them to do anything. So this is pretty far-fetched to me. But
if this happened to us, though, would you say ghosts are real?
Yeah.
The family was shaken.
100%.
No one saw the bottles move.
Couldn't deny
and
that
all
shit.
were shut tightly, sealed in metal or plastic. But this incident was just the beginning. An epidemic of pure chaos and hysteria would overtake their home for the next month, leaving them hardly a minute of peace. Bottles continued to shatter, spraying potentially harmful chemicals like nail polish remover, peroxide, rubbing alcohol, and bleach throughout the house. Objects began to hurl through rooms, including the sugar bowl, a plump globe, and a portable phonograph making an absolute racket, causing damage to the walls and the woodworking.
Sweet baby Jesus.
A heavy bookcase carrying a 25-volume encyclopedia, which alone weighed over 75 pounds, was upended.
Why did you say a plump globe?
Well, doesn't it look rather plump?
It does.
As opposed to
I
a skinny
didn't
globe.
notice
No
that,
one wants a
but-
skinny globe in their house. How am I going to find Antarctica on
I
that?
guess globes are all as plump as each other, but
Everyone knows when you say globe, you have to describe that.
No one's ever said that.
That it is
It's
plump, and
it's
you
a
have to
new
do this with your
phrase.
hands. It's a
It's a
plump
new-
globe you got there.
it's my favorite thing you've ever said.
Okay. The situation was out of hand. Their attacker remained seemingly invisible. The family needed help. On February 11th, 1958, 8 days after the disturbances started, county police assigned an officer to take on 24/7 full-time duty of the Herman family's case. This man was Detective Joseph Tozzi. Within days, Tozzi had put together a 55-page dossier on the now ongoing stream of incidents, all of which he made sure he was informed. He interviewed witnesses, recorded times, and took accounts from all angles prior to and post-occurrence. During the supernaturally charged month in the Herman home, lasting officially from the first incident on February 3rd to the last known incident on March 10th, there were 67 distinct mysterious events noted. Strangely, incidents only occurred when members of the family were home and awake. Times when the children were at school and the family were asleep remained peaceful. Most of the haunted cases that we cover, when do they usually happen?
At night.
What are the people usually doing?
I'm sleeping.
And what does that mean it usually is?
Dream.
Or, like, I saw a hat man in my room.
Sleep paralysis.
There it is. Okay. Now they were asleep, and that's when things were peaceful. So this is actually a little, it's running contrary to what we normally would see.
Leave the house. Go for a walk. Get a job.
Bottles and other affected objects were taken to the police lab and were quickly found to contain no foreign matter.
Shit.
Structural issues with the house were ruled out. An electrician was consulted, and the Long Island Lighting Company checked wiring, fuse panels, and ground wires. The storm cellar was checked for adequate circulation and pressure. Tozy himself studied every outlet, oil burner, water leader, and electrical insulation from basement to attic. Even the state of the TVs were considered, all of which were conclusively incredibly ordinary. I mean, if we're watching Poltergeist, that was the culprit, right? The TV.
Good of them to check all these things.
Right?
Very thorough.
This is exactly what you would do.
Yeah.
And when you find nothing, you're like, I don't know how those bottles popped. And then you say,
You're liars.
no, that's when you say ghosts are real.
Oh.
Having a detective and institutional support on the case was comforting, but they weren't any closer to discovering the identity or the reason behind their mystery tormentor. With no leads in sight, the devout Catholic family, whose surname indicates German heritage, came to the conclusion they had a poltergeist infestation.
You should have led with these people being Catholic.
Hey, look, even
They're nuts, man.
even their possible nuttiness aside,
Yeah.
they got folks from all the officials to check everything out. I guess what I'm trying to say is their first move wasn't, let's call a priest. You have to give them that.
I feel like people who are deeply religious are more prone to believing in, I mean, they're certainly more prone to believing in ghosts, but Catholics in general are just, they get excited about this stuff. Especially that Holy Ghost. They love him, don't they?
But don't you have to admit, though,
Yeah.
that if they were that type, wouldn't they have gone to the priest first and not done all the actual scientific, real-world,
I don't
pragmatic
know.
solutions?
I don't know. I
I think you're purposefully not admitting that is a good point.
Maybe they would. Hey, that's a great point. I'll say that.
I'll give you 2 finger wags for that. You've been warned. The Hermans named their poltergeist Popper, seeing as he had a
wiggles.
distinctive fondness for popping the tops off every bottle in the house. In German folklore, a poltergeist, meaning rumbling ghost or noisy spirit, is a mischief-making type of ghoul. Across hundreds of cases recorded throughout history, their MO is largely the same. Prank-level disturbances, making loud noises, as well as levitating, moving, or destroying objects big and small. Some particularly nasty ones may get physical, pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping, setting fires, or causing electrical issues. Foul smells are sometimes associated with poltergeists. Unsurprising, as a good fart joke
Taco
is the
Bell.
bread and butter for amateur pranksters everywhere. As the incidents continued to ramp up in severity, the Hermans needed to get a professional on the case. And who better to expel a spirit than a priest? Enter Father William McLeod of the nearby St. William the Abbot Church, who performed an exorcism with devout prayer as he sprinkled holy water in each of the Hermans' 6 rooms. His prayers went unheeded. Phantasmic experiences continued to abound. A spiritual war was being fought in a Long Island suburb, and God-fearing, gossip-mongering locals were getting restless. Small town
But why would God want to go to Long Island? That's the real question.
Now, media coverage of the ghostly tale was soon picked up by major outlets. Time, the New York Times, and Life were all peddling the story, causing a national
Look, I can say shit. I live in Ohio, all right? Get off my dick.
sensation. Soon, reporters and curiosity seekers were huddled outside the house all the dreary winter month long, hoping to witness some poltergeist action.
It's a funny subheadline there.
Where hell's a poppin'. It is pretty good. Can't argue with that. That's just good,
Things
right?
have been jumping, it says.
Kind of annoying, a bunch of people looky-loos outside your house.
What a looky-loos would make me feel more comforted, though. I'd be like, hey, there's more people around.
Potential witnesses.
Check it out.
Do you think they're still lying? This feels like a big
Come in and watch
lie.
me sleep.
I'm always trying to reconcile, do people like attention even if it doesn't necessarily
Benefit
bring them monetary gain?
No, it would not.
Like Jeff the Mongoose, those people did not seemingly gain anything at all
name's
from
Jeff.
it. But I got the hunch that they liked the attention.
These folks, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
It's a lot of trouble Have you ever had somebody like inspectors come to like your they have to come check like your gas line or
Yeah,
like
it's
your
fun. You chat?
No, I don't like it.
I like to chat.
They usually are late.
I know all their names.
No, you don't.
Yeah?
Yeah, what's his name?
Harley.
That's pretty good. So essentially, they've done everything they can to this point, except you're gonna like what's coming next.
We're just
The
accepting
men of
it.
science came next, including psychologist J.G. Pratt, then in his graduate program, who investigated this case with the backing of his advisors at the parapsychology laboratory at Duke University, where an academic approach to alleged psychic phenomena was being studied. On Pratt's arrival in the house, he immediately was brought into a chaotic scene. Detective Tozy, his superior Sergeant McConnell, and young James were staring at the wreckage of a record player that had been hurled 20 feet from the table it usually sat.
Good Lord.
By protocol, everything remained untouched until Tozy could investigate, and James, who had been studying, reported only catching the motion out of the corner of his eye. He then heard the noise as the machine smashed into a staircase banister. At this point, it's not just the family seeing these things. There's like officials there and everything like that.
Yeah. So a corner of his eye?
James did.
Oh.
But I mean, like, there's two detectives there now, and then
I don't know. Here's the thing.
And J.G. Pratt, a man of science, walks in as they're looking at the wreckage.
Sure, yeah. This is all from an era. This is my thing with ghosts. This is the last thing I'll say about ghosts for the rest of my life. My thing is, we live in an age where you can rig up a place with GoPros. You can put them in every corner of every room. Any place that is haunted, and we've had that technology, a decade plus now?
Yeah.
A haunted house should be able to be fully monitored and captured right now. You can put cameras in a haunted house and get
That's a
everything.
good point.
Yeah, hasn't happened. This is from an era where they obviously couldn't do that, so I'm just skeptical of any, of all this. But cool,
The accusation you're lobbing, ever so kind of veiled here, is that they have rigged up the house and they're fooling the officers here? Is that what you're getting
It's
at?
certainly a possibility. Yeah.
Minutes later, after James was excused and the men
Magic
continued their
word.
discussion, there was another incident in the kitchen. Mrs. Herman had just laid out a plate of bread, left the room briefly to answer the door, and when she came back, the bread was all over the floor. The plate careened to a far corner of the room. Once again, James...
Was it fresh baked bread? Bro, I'd be stabbing a motherfucker. Love fresh baked bread with some butter and some jam and some preserves. I like food.
was present, but had not seen the event until after it had occurred, noticing only when the plate hit the floor. In this single afternoon, Pratt had borne witness to two fairly typical examples of disturbances in the house for a number of reasons. Number one being, during very few of the instances was the actual action of levitation or explosion actually witnessed. Most were only noticed in the moment of the aftermath. In fact, in only 4 out of the 67 cases did the family or guests in the home actually see the event and moment of impact. One of these rare occurrences took place on Saturday, February 15th at 7:40 p.m., when the children and their adult second cousin, Miss Marie Murtha, were in the living room. Miss Murtha reported seeing a porcelain figurine leave an end table and fly 2 feet through the air directly at the television set. The figurine fell with a loud noise to the floor 6 inches from the TV, but did not break. She described the moment saying that just as she was about to speak to James, quote, "I saw the female figurine wiggle like that of a worm cut in pieces. As it went in the air, it looked like a small white feather," end quote. She said there was definitely no one in the room close enough to touch the figurine or propel it in any way. As a man of science, Pratt wrote of the testimony she gave him, quote, "Miss Murtha impressed me as being level-headed and intelligent. She said that her idea was that the things which had been happening in the house must have an electrical cause. She did not believe that anything supernatural was involved. She lamented the publicity and was afraid of its effect on the children," end quote. Thoughts on that?
The ghost people will always be like, oh, if you don't have anything to say to it, you must think it's true and are like trying to wriggle out of it. But if you don't believe in ghosts, then you just assume the failings of human perception or people lying about things, or it's certainly cool. I don't think it's ghosts, but is this episode supposed to be us arguing about ghosts the whole time?
No, but it's certainly going to turn into that.
It's
going to
exciting.
turn into that. This brings us to big common factor number 2, being that in most cases, the mysterious occurrences appear to center around Herman's son, James, who was present for nearly every incident, and as noted, the house was quiet when he was asleep or at school. James was described as, quote, an intelligent and likable boy who seemed frank and honest. But as in the nature of any 12-year-old boy, many assumed he was just at an age where rampant tomfoolery was to be expected, and his parents and the police were quick to accuse him of taking his pranks too far.
We got a little nasty boy on our hands.
What do you think here now?
I think based on the fact that it only seemed to happen when people were awake, it's probably the little boy.
Okay.
Up to his little tricks. Or the family as a whole is like having fun.
And with that, we get into the theories. It's time for the corkboard.
Ooh, I love the theories.
Level
They
with
can be
me.
more interesting than the
What
story.
is the mystery here?
Is this a ghost? Is this a hoax? That's pretty much it.
Is it a secret third thing?
Is it a secret third or fourth thing?
That's exciting.
Maybe it's aliens.
What if it's, sometimes it's gas?
Yeah.
A gas leak?
That's right.
Sometimes it's mold.
Yeah.
This is all.
I don't know why mold would make, a
Mold.
plump globe fly across the room.
Mold does a lot of things.
Which one should we start with?
Let's mix it up and do theory 3 first.
No, we're gonna start with theory 1.
Okay.
I don't even know why I gave you that option. Theory 1, it was a hoax, folks. Look at those mischievous little eyes and that mischievous little smile.
Jimmy Jr.
Which brings us to our first theory. It was all James's fault. So there's a duality to this theory, and that makes it a little bit more nuanced. Was James the poltergeist, or was he the supernatural conduit that brought the poltergeist to the house? The day after Detective Tozy was assigned the case, both children were interviewed and warned, quote, that it would be a grave matter if they were found to be implicated, end quote.
Why? Because they wasted everyone's time?
Yeah, because they fucking got the police down there.
That's sort of on the police, though,
They
isn't
have
it?
the folks from like the lighting company coming down
I
to,
agree.
go boop boop and all
pretty
that
funny,
shit.
yeah.
It's not funny.
Maybe they wanted to get movie rights, sell their story. What about that?
I don't think so.
Hell yeah.
Seeing as how this happened in the 50s and
Money,
Poltergeist
money,
came out in
money,
1982,
money.
quite the long time to wait.
Right market for it, though.
They were probably all dead by then, at least
Yeah,
the
I
parents
don't
were.
No,
get
I'm
high
saying
pitch.
that, no good ghost movies out then. What do they got, like House on Haunted Hill? With
Yeah, but it didn't
big
come
old
out to the 80s though, if you were right.
They're not aware that the movie Poltergeist will come out in 30 years.
But that is what you were saying, to sell
I'm
the
saying,
movie rights.
I'm saying they could just sell their story.
But they didn't, is what I'm getting at.
I know, but I'm saying maybe they wanted to, but then people started getting too close to the truth.
Okay, all right. At one point, the detective even purposely falsely accused James, saying he had seen the boy throw an object, claiming he had, quote, proof that James had caused many of the events and that it was time for him to admit it without further delay, end quote. James, brought to tears at the police's accusations, continued to insist that he had nothing to do with the incidents. Overwhelmed by the stress of the entire situation, Mrs. Herman and the children, who were already not sleeping out of fear, were brought to a family friend's house to stay overnight. That being said, just because James denied being involved, that doesn't mean his presence wasn't a factor. But by the way, actually, we'll just stop right there. What do you think about that? They purposely were like, we know you did it, James, and he still held strong. Like, he cried. A 12-year-old boy cried. Was like, I didn't do this.
Kids cry and lie all the
Yes.
Yeah, but he would have to be like a
Lie all the time.
sociopath to still be like, I didn't do
time.
it.
Look at his cold, dead eyes.
He's got a point.
Those are the cold, dead eyes of a sociopath.
He's
I
a
don't think
wolf
so.
boy.
Put yourself into the mindset of a 12-year-old. If the
He's a
police and
monster.
your parents were saying, Shane, we know you did it. It's time to fess up. Your dad was like, he puts a hand on your shoulder. Shane, it's okay, son. We know you did it. You could tell us. And
But
you
I'm
said-
not a little stinker like this guy. you know?
I'm just saying, a
I can't put
12-year-old.
myself
A
in-
12-year-old.
Yes, but if we're accepting it, then we're also accepting that he's lying about all this in the first place.
but
So he's a nasty little stinker.
I don't think a 12-year-old would be
That's
able to
a
hold.
stinker.
I don't think he'd be able to hold up to that kind of pressure. I don't think so.
12-year-olds have murdered.
Well, I mean, that's are you saying he's a murderer now?
No, I'm just saying.
You called him a weirdo, a liar, and a murderer now.
12-year-olds are capable of horrible things. Some of them are very nasty, And I'm not saying that
He ain't
Jimmy
wrong.
Jr. is, but I'm saying it's possible that he could lie about this and be a nasty little stinker about it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think none of
It's
that.
certainly more plausible than, a ghost.
Okay, let me ask you this then. I know we're getting deep into this right now.
All right, that's
How does a
fine.
tw-
It's the basement. This is a
How-
safe space. We're still friends.
How does a 12-year-old toss a 75-pound encyclopedia by himself across a room?
What the fuck are you? There's no
Did you not miss that? That was a fact earlier in it. There was a 75-pound encyclopedia that got tipped over.
There is no encyclopedia that exists that is 75 pounds over.
A full shelf.
Sure.
That included that. That wasn't the only thing on it.
I don't know. It's easy to knock a shelf over.
He also threw a
Some
25-pound
12-year-olds are big.
He threw a 20-pound record player across the room? That's crazy.
Look,
Could you
man,
do that?
Did anyone witness that?
Yeah, that was when the psychologist came in and then the...
And it was already on the floor broken?
Yeah, but
Okay.
even still, he would have to throw it himself, and the detectives were in the room, and they didn't see it fly, but they saw the aftermath.
I'd love to see a ghost do that. Would really love to see a ghost.
I'd love to see a 12-year-old.
You'd love to see a 12-year-old.
People in the comments, have your 12-year-olds take a 20-pound dumbbell and see how far they could throw it. We'll have a 20-pound throw
I bet we get a video of that sooner than a ghost doing anything.
I bet you we won't. I bet you
bet
they
you
can't
we
throw-
won't.
I bet you they
I
can't
bet
throw
you
that.
we won't.
I bet you we wouldn't. Parapsychologists like Pratt and his colleagues at Duke postulated that poltergeist
I think Mystery Files tears them apart more than anything. Oh, fuck.
phenomena may be linked to a phenomenon known as psychokinesis, which, by the way, unproven. But anyway, by this theory, repressed emotional energy, which can be particularly potent in teenagers, could be linked to a capacity to physically move objects. In a study of nearly 500 cases of unexplained poltergeist-like activity, most of them, quote, centered around someone near the age of adolescence. So, while James may not have been explicitly the culprit by his own hand, his energy may have been manifesting or attracting some seriously mysterious forces. And with this, to test J.G. Pratt's theory and the theory of the parapsychology lab at Duke University, you, an adult man, not an adolescent, but full of repressed emotional energy, evidenced by your proclivity to playing with puppets. We'll test this on you. Perhaps you have some untapped potential that you don't even know about.
You want me to do psychokinesis?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull it out of you. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take myself, I'm gonna turn my back to you, I'm gonna look at the card I've drawn, I'm gonna look at the symbol, digest it into my brain, and you are going to then take that image from my brain and tell me what it is. And we're gonna go through this whole deck of these 5 different symbols. And just to be clear, the average chance, like random chance, would be 20% accuracy. So if you could get better than 20%, maybe you have some untapped potential here. What if
is
you
it?
got all of them?
What is this? Oh, is this telekinesis or telepathy?
Psychokinesis.
Psychokinesis.
You have psychokinetic abilities, perhaps, that you've never tapped into.
How does this relate to poltergeist?
like-
Well, that he
Maybe
might
you
have
stare at
untapped
ghosts?
psychokinetic abilities that he doesn't know about because he's a repressed teen.
okay. Well, okay, let's try.
These are simple little cards. We got a circle, we got a star, we got a plus sign, and we got a square. It's a very simple test.
This is like Ghostbusters.
These are Zener cards. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take myself, turn my back to you so you can't read my face. I'm gonna pick one card at a time. And you're gonna, I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna really send that signal in my brain to you, and you're gonna read my mind and tell me what little symbol I'm looking at. First symbol. What is it, Shane?
Circle.
Okay. Next symbol.
Circle.
Next symbol.
Square. Circle. Circle. Squiggle. Star. Square. Plus.
Next one.
Circle. Squiggle.
Next one.
Star. Circle. Star.
Next one.
Square. I got that one, huh?
Next one. Wait, hold on, let me try it hard again.
Circle. Is this supposed to mean that you have psychokinesis?
Well,
or
you're
I
able to
do?
read my mind.
Oh. Plus sign.
Next one.
Squiggle. Star. Square.
You're not trying hard enough. Try harder.
I am. I shouldn't have to try if I'm psychokinetic. Squiggle. Square.
Brittany, what was the?
5 out of 25.
Which
5
is
out of 25.
That's exactly Chance. Well, Shane, I can conclusively say that you have absolutely 0% psychokinetic ability. You literally scored the what chance would be 20%. Honestly, that's pretty compelling right there.
Yeah, pretty good. Maybe I'm trolling.
Others look to natural phenomena, hoping to pinpoint a physical cause over a metaphysical one. They consulted academics, hoping to lean on pure science for answers. A conference with the Nassau Police Department was even held at the Adelphi College with members of the science department, though none dared to put forth any suggestions. Which brings us to a series of other theories of a more scientific nature that the ever-determined Detective Tozy looked into. Theory number 2. Underground water movement. The next theory Tozy and some other researchers postulated was that underground streams or water movement could be causing the vibrations in the house, leading to the freak moving objects.
See, now this I get excited about. This is more exciting to me than ghosts. Because, like, what?
Well, buckle up.
Okay.
The Seaford Fire Department checked a well in front of the house and, quote, found no radical change in the water level in the past 5 years, end quote. The town of Hempstead Engineer's Office sent maps of the area from before the house was built, but, quote, no water or streams were shown, end quote. A technical specialist named Robert E. Zeider from the prestigious Brookhaven National Laboratory even brought a dowsing rod, a divinatory tool used to try to locate groundwater, metals, gemstones, oil, alleged radiation, and earth vibrations, hoping to prove that water was unsettling a magnetic field beneath the Herman's home, but had inconclusive results. Notably, dowsing rods themselves are largely considered no more effective at predicting scientific outcomes than random chance. Seems like this theory doesn't hold much water.
Yeah, the fact there's not a lot of water underneath the house seems like maybe debunks it a little bit.
No.
And that one's debunked.
Theory 3. Electromagnetic fields. Another possibility Tozy also wanted to rule out was radio waves or electromagnetic fields causing the freak phenomena, looking at nearby communication towers, sonic booms from nearby aircrafts, or other sources in the house that could have triggered the movement of objects.
Okay.
Experts from the Radio Corporation of America, RCA, tested for radio frequencies outside the house. Nothing unusual was discovered. The Long Island Lighting Company installed an oscillograph. No unusual vibrations were found. An electrician was consulted to check the house wiring for abnormalities. Everything was in order. The town of Hempstead building found the house to be structurally sound. A professor of engineering from Cooper Union, as well as a structural engineer, a civil engineer, and an electrical engineer from the Nassau County of Professional Engineers all examined the home. Their investigations did not reveal anything out of the ordinary.
It was a pretty damn good
The plumbing
home.
was checked and a slight vibration was detected, carried by a hot water main to one of the main beams, but this was in fact in the normal range of vibrations. Neighboring homes were also checked and found to have higher vibrational levels than the Hermans. The TV antenna was even removed from the chimney, and a small crack was closed near the house's foundation to eliminate possible vibrations. This is all to say the leading scientific theories at the time were pretty extensively studied, and the available evidence was not definitive by any means. Now this has to please you. I mean, this is like, I don't know what more they could have done here.
Very thorough.
Incredibly thorough.
Which, I mean, sort of backs my belief that it's probably just a hoax perpetrated by the residents of the house.
Right.
And theory 4. Poltergeists and ghosts are real. You know I had to say this? Look at the jacket. I'm a ghost hunter. You're a ghost hunter. We hunt ghosts because they're real. Here's my thought about the whole thing. They gained nothing from this. In fact, their lives were kind of made worse by all of this. The fact that it's a 12-year-old boy, even if he was the perpetrator, I doubt he has the strength or ability to pull off any of these movements
They
or
got
pranks.
fame, didn't they? We're talking about them till today.
Infamy is different than fame.
No. Look,
Infamy is different than fame. Notoriety is different than fame.
hey, some people just want their name remembered, you know?
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think they
Possibly.
gain anything from this hoax. I think the fact that they checked all the scientific theories at the time, they extensively researched.
You know what though? I'll tell you what, if I was a little boy, if I was 12,
Yeah.
and I was a nasty little prankster, I was a little stinker,
Yeah.
and if I convinced everyone that we had a ghost,
Yeah.
and they still never figured it out, I'd be an adult, and I'd be an adult stinker,
Yeah.
and I'd be thinking, ha ha ha,
Got away with it.
I got him.
Yeah, but you also wouldn't be a 12-year-old kid pumping iron, capable of throwing heavy objects
I
across
don't
the
know.
room.
It's easy to knock a shelf over. Leverage.
It's 20
What
pounds.
about the record player?
Easy to ride. Not hard.
What about a plump globe?
I can move a plump globe.
You know what I think happened. I think this is just
You
a
think
haunted
it's a ghost.
house.
You think
It's
it's
a haunted
ghost.
house.
Yeah.
It's so much trouble to go through all of this. For what? For what? There's no reason for it. There's no words on it.
You know, I think this is one of those where we'll have to agree to disagree.
I guess so. So, was it most likely that Popper was a hoax created by the family? Skeptics continue to point fingers at 12-year-old
100%.
James, and in a that troublemaking pesky kid, he did it kind of way. Or is perhaps Popper actually a poltergeist? The jokester of ghosties, the jester of ghouls.
Will we
Regardless,
ever know?
the case of Popper the Poltergeist remains, as ever, a mystery.
Oh, shoot.
Brum, brum, brum.
Thought we'd get that one.
I mean, I don't think it's a mystery. I think it's pretty clear what happened, but I legally have to say it's a mystery. But this one's solved, folks. It's a ghost.
It's not solved.
It's
Legally,
solved.
you have
It's
to say
solved.
no.
Look
it's
at
not
the
solved.
badge,
Legally,
dude.
It's not.
I'm a ghost
Legally.
hunter, and I'm telling you right now, this is a
Legally.
ghost.
I would have liked more documentation. It was a fun story, though.
There's plenty of documentation. There was a 55-page dossier from a detective.
I would just want to see proof of, what was going on there.
That is proof.
But really fun. That's a good
Video
little story.
evidence.
A nice little fairy tale that you weaved for us. Really good. I guess we'll never know what happened on Long Island.
Except we will. We do know.
I guess we'll have to agree to disagree.
We do know.
Agree to disagree.
We do know.
Agree to disagree.
We'll see you next week.
Can I ask you what you almost left at home for camera, Ryan?
I did almost leave this jacket at home,
but I did
put my lunch order in.
It's a ghost episode.
Poor Ryan. Man, I love mystery files. It's so. I know I don't say it a lot during them, but they just like I get so enthralled in it. I don't know. I can't help it. I remembered. Holy fuckballs. I mean, not right away, but I did remember. That's the important part. Man, I really did enjoy this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I did, man. I really enjoyed Mystery Files. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. It really does help the channel grow. While you're down there, if you want, going over and slap that subscribe button, become part of the B5 Nation. We do some crazy stuff here. If you want to know when that crazy stuff happens, ding that bell and turn on all notifications. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Damn, bro. It's fuck.